Let's move on to some climate change news. Mississippi River flood fight operations end. Um, oh wait, hold on. This is not what I wanted to read. Flooding ravages. This is what I wanted to read. Sorry, had the wrong article. Excuse me, guys. Flooding ravages northeast Mississippi on today, on July 1st. If you guys can see that, I don't know. Well, I won't make you watch the ad. All right. Thanks. Thanks, Baptist Online. All right, here we go. That is northeast Mississippi today, suffering through some flooding. Sorry if you guys didn't see that or not. Maybe you guys didn't see that. I don't know. I'm hoping you did. Maybe you didn't. Okay, I don't think you guys saw that. That's okay. Hold on one second. All right. I'm trying to do my best to cover this story. Mississippi flooding inundates cars, rescues reported. A flash flood emergency was declared for parts of northeastern Mississippi. A county 911 center had to be evacuated. At least one person was rescued from a home. Cars were inundated with water, and at least one person had to be rescued from a home as a flash flood emergency was declared for parts of Mississippi Wednesday morning. Yikes. If y'all can see that. Hopefully you can. Hold on, let's see. Let's see if you can see that. Are you seeing that? Yes, you are. Very good. I don't know if I can go through some of these photos or not. It's not letting me do it. Anyways. That is what is happening in Mississippi. I meant to cover this yesterday, but I don't know what happened. Oh, I lost the tweet, I guess. This is from Extinction Rebellion in Stockholm. Activists refused to sit down on SAS plane SK-142 Gothenburg to maybe they're in Germany. Gothenburg to Stockholm to protest taxpayers' money being used to bail out the airline industry, bail out the planet. They have now been taken off the plane by the police. Or is it Sweden? Sorry, I don't know. This is XR Stockholm. I don't know where I'm at. But yeah, this is great. I don't know that this is about all the coverage of this that I've seen is something on Twitter. So yeah. That's about it. But Extinction Rebellion still trying to work against, I don't know what. Work against the enormity of the system. We should actually see more of that happening, right? I mean, we should probably see Sweden. Thank you, Tor. Sandy says, I watched the video on going south last night and it was epic. Deacon 1959 says the entire Mississippi-Missouri system is going to get tried. The flood control system dates from the 1930s and hasn't been updated much over the years. Well, I was just actually, before I read that story, I was looking at a story where they just stopped their flood control initiatives that they had in place since last year. Right? There was a huge flooding on the Mississippi River. That pretty much went on through the rest of the entire year. There were still areas, standing in floodwater at the end of the year, end of last year. They just stopped their emergency, flood control endeavors, and now they're going to flood again. Maybe, I don't know. Let's move on to a very grim story. This is from today, out of The Guardian. Hundreds of elephants dead in mysterious mass die-off. These pictures are brutal. Botswana's government is yet to test the remains of the dead animals in what has been described as a conservation disaster. More than 350 elephants have died in northern Botswana in a mysterious mass die-off described by scientists as a conservation disaster. A cluster of elephant deaths was first reported in the Okavango Delta in early May, with 169 individuals dead by the end of the month. Did you all hear any of this? Or anything about this? I didn't hear anything about this. In early May, there was a cluster of elephant deaths. 169 is quite a cluster, right? I don't know. When I hear the word cluster, I think of 10, 5 or 10, maybe 20. 169 is a cluster. By mid-June, the number had more than doubled, with 70% of the deaths clustered around waterholes, according to local sources who wish to remain anonymous. Wow. Why? Why do you wish to remain anonymous? What does that mean? This is a mass die-off on a level that hasn't been seen in a very, very long time. Outside of drought, I don't know of a die-off that has been this significant, said Dr. Neil McCann, the director of conservation at UK-based charity National Park Rescue. The Botswana government has not yet tested samples, so there is no information on what is causing the deaths. Well, wait, it started in May. Why haven't you tested any elephants? It's July. All right, is somebody on this or what? Are they sitting around like, should we send these elephant tests out to the lab anytime soon? Nah. It's all good. Let's just remain anonymous. The Botswana government... Oh, wait. The two main possibilities are poisoning or an unknown pathogen. Unknown pathogen. Anthrax, initially considered the most likely cause, has been ruled out. Why? Why is it the most likely cause? McCann said, when we've got a mass die-off of elephants near human habitation, at a time when wildlife disease is very much at the forefront of everyone's minds, it seems extraordinary that the government has not yet sent samples to a reputable lab. Right. What the fuck is going on? Why haven't they sent these samples out? Why aren't they being tested? This is insane. Local witnesses say some elephants were seen walking around in circles, which is an indication of neurological impairment. If you look at the carcasses, some of them have fallen straight on their face, indicating they died very quickly. Others are obviously dying more slowly, like the ones that are wandering around, so it's very difficult to say what this toxin is. Elephants of all ages and both sexes have been dying, local reports found. Several live elephants appeared weak and emaciated, suggesting more will die in the coming weeks. The true number of deaths is likely to be even higher because carcasses can be difficult to spot, say conservationists. Cyanide poisoning, often used by poachers in Zimbabwe, remains a possibility, but scavenging animals do not seem to be dying at the carcasses. Local reports say that there are fewer vultures on carcasses than expected, but none showed signs of abnormal behavior. There is no precedent for this being a natural phenomenon, but without proper testing, it will never be known, said McCann. COVID-19 has been mentioned as a possible cause, but is considered unlikely. Hold on one second. This is very concerning and very upsetting and mind-boggling that they haven't done any tests or figured out what is going on with this. So, as I was talking about yesterday, and as we were reading about in the one article I covered yesterday, we were talking about changes in habitat or habitat destruction or environmental destruction leading to unknown I guess unknown mutations in maybe some diseases or unknown responses to certain viruses or mutations or whatever, could this just be a climate change is making everything very difficult, especially for elephants in this area? I don't know. Could that be it? LC says, damn, we blame COVID for this too. I mean, it could be. There's actually, coronavirus has been found in certain animal populations. What was I just reading the other day? I can't remember who it was, but there were some animals that were being affected by the coronavirus, but their bodies don't react to the coronavirus the way that humans do. And obviously there are other animals that are carrying coronavirus. I've heard that dogs can actually carry coronavirus, but it doesn't kill them or, affect them adversely the way it does humans. But you could probably, I guess the idea is that you could catch coronavirus from your dog if your dog has it. Yeah, I don't know. Jody Connolly, fish bacteria closing down fisheries on the West Coast. There you go. Yes, I mean, so we're seeing obviously declines in animal species all over the planet, declines in insects, et cetera, due to changes in environment, whatever it might be, whether it's temperatures or other factors. And there's no reason that won't extend to human beings eventually. But this is really frightening and concerning news. Trent Black says, people may care, but they're not going to do anything. We just give a sad emoji and go to dinner. Right. Right. But that is probably what is going to happen as climate change evolves and as climate change, continues to escalate and temperatures, carbon, and other factors keep on rising. We're going to see widespread changes in our environment that are going to affect all kinds of animals, and yes, we are an animal. That's going to affect us as well, and we're not going to have any idea what's going on, right? Because these changes are happening so fast, and viruses, bacteria, etc., all kinds of things are going to change and mutate very quickly, and spread very quickly, and we're not going to know what hit us. We're just going to be like just like coronavirus, we're going to say like, well, we think it works this way. Wait, no, hold on. We think it works this way. We don't know where it came from. We're not sure. We have all kinds of ideas about how this works, or how much we don't know about it, what you can do to save yourself from it, or possible cures for it. And by the time we figure out what's going on, there'll probably be some other disease, wiping out other parts of the population, or spreading very quickly through other parts of the population. Indeed. Let's move on. Fish in China are going crazy. A bad sign, Donald McCarthy. I haven't heard anything about this. If you have any links or anything, I would love to read about that. Fish in China are going crazy. Okay. Tor Wootendahl says humans will be the star attraction in some future Jurassic Park. Possibly. Let's move on to something that Greta Thunberg tweeted out. The extreme heat wave continues, but equally worrying is the fact that our societies fail to grasp the full meaning of this. The longer the climate crisis is being ignored or downplayed, the longer people will remain unaware, and the political inaction is allowed to continue. She's retweeting something from Scotland. Extremely hot again on the fringe of the Arctic Ocean. Again, this is from yesterday. An astonishing plus 34 C has been recorded at a latitude of 73 north today in Russia. This is about 20 to 25 C warmer than normal. It just continues, right? 34 C is mind-blowing for the Arctic. And again, this has been happening day after day after day, week after week, month after month. This entire year has seen the Arctic be much above normal. Temperature anomaly, much above normal the entire year in the Arctic. So right now, 20 to 25 C warmer than normal. That's the anomaly. Note how much open water there is compared to normal. Sea ice is taking a hit. Let's look at this thread a little more and see if we can... this is the observation available. So this is where the 34C was recorded, right on the shores of the Arctic. That is amazing. This is how the Arctic sea ice is looking compared to a 30-year average for most of June 2020. So the red is lower than normal. The blue is higher than normal. Darker reds represent open water where normally we would have complete ice coverage at this time of year. There's a lot of red. There is some blue, but the blue is disappearing. And the red is all over the edges of the ice, basically. So they're negative departures on either side, so negative anomalies on either side of the heat anomaly in the Arctic. And this is where we're at in the Siberian Arctic. From Zach Labe. Holy shnikes. This is the Siberian Arctic. This is where the sea ice is at. We were following a track for lowest, and now, with the previous lowest, and now well below that track. And let's look at Arctic sea ice current year, We're at the low end. We were below the 2 standard deviation mark for the last month or two. Sorry. We're now back at the very bottom end of the 2 standard deviation mark. But we are well below the median. Sorry about that. Always some lunatic coming up and saying things that don't make any sense. Seems to be a lot of Arctic ice. This during a global shutdown and reduction of man-made CO2. Maybe AGW isn't a thing. Maybe you are a dildo. I love how people just say things that just don't make any sense, but act like they really know what they're talking about. It's fucking embarrassing. I'm going to stop cursing now. I'm just a little bit annoyed and a little bit pissed. Yeah. Aaron C says, I need an edible after looking at that chart. Have at it. Have at it. Deacon 1959 says, we've been running heat indexes down here at least 10 to 15 degrees higher than base temperatures. We're getting August heat now. August is going to be bad. Right. That's something that people are not really talking about, is that we're getting, globally, much warmer temperatures much earlier in the summer or later in the spring, if you will. So we have been seeing summer temperatures in, May or early June, which is not usually when it's the warmest. That's usually when it's, perfect outside, right? Perfect kind of late spring, early summer weather. And it gets really hot in July and August. But we've already been seeing those high heat indexes earlier than usual, so it's just going to get hotter, right? Sam said 3C in 2021. Which Sam? Sam Carana? Jay Ackert says, be moderate in your love of man and mourn for the ecosystems. Yeah, Jacob, that's all good. Jacob says your candor is appreciated. Yeah, I just trying not to completely, when I get upset, I sometimes tend to just let loose all the F-bombs and just generally call people stupid, which I don't think it's very helpful generally, but whatever. Thank you for the super chat, Sean. I appreciate you. Nice, Sandy. Keep gardening. Keep on gardening. All right, let's move on to this story out of South America. South America becomes the 3rd continent after Africa and Asia to succumb to locust plagues. The governments of Paraguay, Argentina, and Brazil are on alert as locusts are sweeping through farmland and ruining crops. Astonishing huge swarms of locusts are sweeping through. Let me see what the date is. This is from June 26th. Astonishing huge swarms of locusts are sweeping through farmlands, ruining crops of South America, making it the 3rd continent this year to succumb to locust plagues. Again, this has to be climate change related. This must be, right? And again, this is the effect of the climate changing in sometimes imperceptible ways, or maybe in obvious ways if you're actually looking or paying attention. That sets up conditions for these kinds of plagues to happen, not just locusts, but viruses, bacteria, etc. Short-horned insects, whatever you like. Short-horned locusts, capable of devouring the same amount of crops as 2,500 people would each day, are thought to have arrived from neighboring Paraguay recently. The swarms are heading toward the large metropolitan area of Santa Fe. Lantery Community President Pipo Garcia described the swarm as astonishing and said he has never seen anything like it. The swarms are expected to move into Brazil. A video of a swarm can be seen. Here, y'all want to look at this video of a swarm? Let's see. Anytime. Oh my God. Well, anyways, there's too much junk going on this website, apparently, for this to even play, but whatever. We might see it, we might not. There you go. There's a biblical plague of locusts swarm farmland in Argentina. Ugh. Crazy. That is wild. Ooh, can you imagine being in that? Can you imagine? Yeah, mirror is junk, yes. But at least we finally got to see this video, right? Okay, lastly, I want to read this article from someone named Joelle Gurgis. And I believe it was her who posted this on Twitter the other day. And this is from a site called themonthly.com. Witnessing the unthinkable. New climate modeling suggests planetary crisis is coming much sooner than previously thought. You don't say. It's 3 a.m. and I'm awake. Again, it's no exaggeration to say that my work as a climate scientist now routinely keeps me up at night. She's a climate scientist. I keep having dreams of being inundated. Huge, monstrous waves bearing down on me in slow motion. Sometimes I stop resisting and allow myself to be sucked in. Other times I watch as a colossal tsunami builds offshore. I panic, immediately sensing that I don't stand a chance. I watch the horizon disappear before turning to bolt to higher ground. Around me, people are calmly going about their business. High water is menacing my subconscious, trying to help me grapple with the overwhelm I feel in my waking life. My teeth ache from the nocturnal grinding that my dentist now just acknowledges with a sigh. As one of a dozen or so Australian lead authors involved in writing the physical science basis of the 6th assessment report of the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, it's no wonder I'm on edge. Before the coronavirus pandemic swept the world, the scientific community was reeling from the most catastrophic bushfire season in Australian history. We all watched on in horror as the fires savaged our country, releasing more carbon dioxide in a single bushfire season than the country emits in an entire year. An arc of destruction tore through our native forests, from the subtropical rainforests of Queensland through the temperate forests of southern New South Wales and eastern Victoria, all the way across to the coastal bushland of South Australia. A terrifying amount of Australia's World Heritage areas are burnt. At least 80% of the Blue Mountains protected area and 53% of the ancient Gondwana rainforest network. These are the last of such precious places, areas that have clung on since the age of dinosaurs, forced to contend with the processes of evolution playing out in fast forward. Instead of adapting gradually over thousands of millions of years, ecosystems were radically transformed in the space of a single summer, not even a nanosecond in geologic time. The urgent national conversation we needed to have about climate change following this collective trauma never happened. Instead, we were all forced to retreat into our bolt holes as a deadly plague took hold. We abandoned the global common, and life shrunk to an intensely personal scale. And there we have remained in suspended animation, waiting for the health crisis to pass, for some air of normality to return to our lives. Through it all, scientists across the world have been working around the clock to to progress the IPCC's monumental assessment of the global climate, a cycle that typically takes around 6 years to complete. As part of this effort, a group of Australian scientists published an analysis of the latest generation of climate models, assessing what they are telling us about Australia's future. After years of refinements, the new models now contain significant improvements in the simulation of complex physical processes associated with clouds and convection, essentially the transfer of heat through the fluid motion of the atmosphere and ocean. These updates have influenced estimates of what is termed climate sensitivity, a measure of the relationship between changes in carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and the corresponding level of warming. The results have provided an alarming revision of the temperature increases we thought possible. It is something IPCC scientists are grappling to understand and communicate, as it has dire implications for the feasibility of achieving the Paris Agreement targets for reducing global emissions. The current goal is to keep global warming to well within 2°C above pre-industrial levels and as close to 1.5°C as possible. This is to avoid instabilities in the planetary processes that have kept our climate steady for close to 12,000 years. That is, for all of modern human civilization. According to this new study led by scientists at the CIRO and Bureau of Meteorology, the worst-case scenario could see Australia warm up by 7°C above pre-industrial levels by the end of the century. That is a no bueno right there. On average, the results from 20 models show a warming of 4.5°C, which is also a no bueno, with a range of between 2.7°C and 6.2°C, also not good. As two of the study's authors, Michael Gross and Julie R. Blaster, noted in the conversation, the new values are a worrying possibility that no one wants, but one we must still grapple with. They quoted the researchers of another recent climate study who said, "What scares us is not that the model's equilibrium climate sensitivity is wrong, but that it might be right." Another profoundly significant result buried in 16 pages deep into the paper is buried. The scientists show that this revision now means that 2°C of global warming is likely to be reached sometime around 2040. That also is a knee slapper on some levels, but still, 2040, much sooner than they've been telling us that, we got time. We got to get to net zero by 2050 or something like that, right? To stay below 2°C. Just wildly insane statements. But anyways, the implications of this are unimaginable. We may witness planetary collapse far sooner than we once thought. I was so disturbed by the new model results that I found it impossible to get back to my work. How can we not understand that life as we know it is unraveling before our eyes, that we have unleashed intergenerational warming that will be with us for millennia? If this really is the end of days, how can a climate scientist like me make best use of the time I have left? In recent years, I've looked to brave colleagues who are becoming increasingly vocal about the climate. In March, just before the national lockdown took effect, Terry and his colleagues rushed to conduct an aerial survey of the third mass bleaching event to strike the reef since 2016. It is the first time that severe bleaching impacted upon virtually the entire range of the Great Barrier Reef, including large parts of the southern reef spared during the 2016 and 2017 events. It's hard to hide from the reality that the entire system is in an advanced state of ecological collapse. In desperation, Terry took to Twitter, sharing his experience of surveying the carnage. "It's been a shitty, exhausting day on the Great Barrier Reef. I feel like an art lover wandering through the Louvre as it burns to the ground." By the end of his field work, he was a broken man. "I'm not sure I have the fortitude to do this again." The honesty of his despair allowed my own to crystallize into a visceral sense of dread that is deepening by the day. We have arrived at a point in human history I think of as the Great Unraveling. Recently, I shared a statistic with my climatology students as I explained the latest mass bleaching event. 99% of the world's tropical coral reefs will disappear with 2°C of global warming. This future no longer feels impossibly far away. It's happening before our eyes, right? The future is right now. It's not happening in the future. It's happening right now. Looking around the room, I couldn't help but feel sorry for them. They have inherited a planetary mess, yet are more distracted and disconnected from each other, themselves, and the natural world than any generation that has ever lived. As each season passes, it's painfully clear that we are witnessing the destabilization of the Earth's climate. There are things we can still save, but it's now too late for some areas such as the Great Barrier Reef and tracts of ancient rainforests. In Australia, we wear our badge of resilience with a hefty dose of national pride, but scientists on the front line of the climate crisis understand that some things in life, once gone, can never be replaced. If the new models turn out to be right, there is no way we can adapt to the catastrophic level of warming projected for a country like Australia. Even placing the new models aside, the 2019 UN Environment Programme's Emissions Gap Report shows that a continuation of current global emission reduction policies could see the Earth's average temperature rise a staggering 3.4 to 3.9 C by 2100. Yes, there's that wishful date again. If we continue along our current path, by any measure, we will sail past the Paris Agreement targets in a handful of decades. Some of our most precious ecosystems will never recover, including some of what was destroyed in Australia during our Black Summer. Gutted landscapes will struggle on, trying to regain some semblance of an equilibrium, or they might just burn up again, or the rest will burn up this year, right? Next summer in Australia. But the truth, I'm sorry to be so bleak, but you know, the idea that the forest fires are going to just go away and not come back for a couple of years and sorry. The truth is the destruction we have unleashed will reverberate through the ages. We are witnessing the unthinkable, facing the unimaginable. Psychologically, many people already sense it's the beginning of the end, but this is the end of the era of fossil fuels or life as we know it. Is it the end of the era of fossil fuels or life as we know it? Or maybe both. As the planetary crisis accelerates, we must confront the reality that what we do now will forever alter the course of humanity and all life on Earth. My dreams are warning me that the metaphorical tsunami is approaching, threatening to destroy all that we hold dear. We must wake up and rush to higher ground before it's too late. Joelle Gurgis is an award-winning climate scientist and writer based at the Australian National University. She's the author of Sunburnt Country, The History and Future of Climate Change in Australia. Hope you all enjoyed that reading. Little doom reading at the end of the video. Yeah, she's getting it. She's understanding. Hey guys, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. You can also support the channel at the links below. PayPal, Square, and Patreon. Also, all of my live streams are available for listening on Patreon if you happen to miss them during the day. So you can sign up for my Patreon for as little as $1. If you want to go check out the live streams, they are all there. Thanks a lot.